and good evening, and welcome to the Jackson Christian Eagle Show. Coach Joe Holloway here, along with two of the finest co-hosts you could ever have in Brian Bullard and Coach Rob Phillips, and we've been talking a whole lot. Folks, you don't want to turn your dial. Right now, we're going to give you a chance in a few minutes to call 5 people up and tell them you want to hear this show. Got 3 of the finest young linemen that we've got going to come in here and talk tonight. Noah Chandler's going to, and a lot of people remember Noah. He's going to be on with you tonight. But Coach Phillips, Coach Bullard, and I, we're going to open this show up. And our leadoff hitter tonight is the one and only, batting number 1 in our lineup, number 1 in your hearts, Brian Bullard.
Coach, I appreciate it. And real quick, just want to touch on the fact you see Coach Phillips leading off tonight with me, and Coach Palmer's normally right here by my side and dealing with a loss in family. And so we're sending our thoughts and our prayers for comfort and peace during this time, and we're ready for him to be back with us when he takes care of everything with his family. So just want to start on that note. I know he would love to be here with us tonight, but he's taking care of all that. So Coach Phillips, thanks for being here with us. Let's talk a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about Thursday night. We start out pretty quick. Back and forth scoring, and then they were able to make plays and pull away from us. The games like that, rivalry game, a lot of folks in the stands and a ton of people there, really good environment. What good did you see, and what are some things that obviously we gotta get better at and can continue to grow at?
Well, first off, like you said, a lot of people. Man, that was a great environment for high school football, and it didn't turn out the way we wanted to, but I do think there were some positives. We saw some big plays early on by some of our guys, Jay, Cam, Elijah. Defensively, I told him after the game, I thought Big Sid played one of his best games, maybe of his career. Mm-hmm. It was kind of a coming-out party for him, just seeing what he was able to do because USJ's got a really good offensive line.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, things didn't go our way, but like Coach P always talks about, it's about what we can learn from it and moving on and doing the best we can from here on out and kind of controlling our own destiny from here.
Yeah. So, you mentioned moving on, and so how do I know how we do that. So in your mind, through 2 days of practice so far in preparation, where do you feel like that our guys are from a confidence standpoint? Kids are resilient and they move on quicker than we do, I think, sometimes. But how do you feel like that our team is progressing through 2 days of practice this week?
Yeah, I think yesterday getting back out on the field, we had Friday off, and nobody wants to lose. Nobody likes losing. And so yesterday getting back out there and kind of learning our alignment for Tipton Rosemark and getting the offense going again, it was a good thing. But today, like we all text Coach P earlier, I think this was one of our best days energy-wise. The way the guys hopped around, it felt great out there. There wasn't a lot of downtime. I mean, it was just go, go, go. That was real encouraging to see us kind of starting to take that step to just moving on.
Absolutely. Coach, as a defensive coordinator, what are some things that we're going to have to do well to contain Tipton, and what are some keys to victory from a defensive perspective?
So from everything I've watched, they do the whole they line up, and then last year, we saw where they checked to the sideline to see if they need to make an adjustment or change the play at the line. And so just being comfortable with, what we do in our alignment and our assignment. I think interior-wise, we can match up with them, and we can play the run really well. It's containing them on the outside when that run bounces outside. And then they, on film, and you've seen this too, they take shots over the top. They're not afraid to throw it up to their receivers. Number 1 and number 9 are pretty good. And so we got to be careful over the top, not giving up the big play, and just kind of we need to force them to just slowly drive down the field.
Absolutely. And from a, we tend to stay on the defensive side of the ball. So we don't have our offensive gurus with us tonight, but from an offensive perspective, they're going to bring pressure. They're going to try to create some chaos and some cloudy reads for for our quarterbacks, and we're going to have to do a good job up front, picking up the different blitz packages and things that they're going to do. And, it's a good thing. The bad thing about football, and I was talking about this with Coach Shelton today, and he's coached a lot of years, and he said, I couldn't be a football coach. He said, because you play one game a week, and then you got to think about it till the next week. So we've been able to turn the page, and we know that we got a good Tipton Rosemark team coming in, and homecoming week, and a lot of things going on. And so we're excited for the opportunity. Coach.
Guys, I got to ask both of y'all, and this can go to Coach Phillips or Coach Bullard, either one. Two things that strike me. One, last game, next game theory. Well, actually, it's three things. Two, how important, and Rob, I'll address this to you, how important it for our outside people to keep the runners and the quarterbacks on their inside shoulder, how important that is. And the third thing about their defense, there is a lot of indecision caused by, and folks, the 3-3-5 is their base defense, and you'll say, Coach, you're wrong. They got 5 men up there. Those are 2 outside linebackers that are up there, or either they brought the corners. But y'all can address those in any order you want to.
As far as what you're talking about, keeping contained on a defense, I always tell, like, for example, Wyatt Jones playing the wheel linebacker, and he's really good at this, so I'll use him as the example. When he sets the edge and keeps that guy inside, he knows I've only got one guy outside, maybe one guy. That corner may be over the top. I got 9 other guys on the inside chasing the ball. And so if I can set that edge and keep that running back or that quarterback, whoever's got the ball inside, now I got 9 guys that are going to help me out. And so sometimes you may see a guy not necessarily attack the ball carrier, but they may be attacking that outside block, which will allow that running back or quarterback to kind of slow down, but it gets the rest of our defenders to the ball. Now, if they're close to the sideline,
he is good.
If they're close to the sideline, I always tell they hear me say this all the time. I always say, hey, that biggest defender out there, that sideline, you can always just push him out of bounds. But as far as keeping him inside, that's what I think that's what you were looking for.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for, because that inside shoulder, and I had a person ask me the question. I said, well, I'm not going to answer it for you. I said, this is somebody the coaches need to answer and tell you a little bit, because you need to understand Jackson Christian football is not only family, but that's part of being a family, keeping him on the inside and your 9 other guys coming up
that's
giving
trusting,
you support.
Yeah.
And we want to emphasize something else. The backside guy, whether it's a defensive end or corner, has to stay at home and watch for the reverse, the counter plays, etc. like that.
Yes.
And Tipton Rosemark's capable of anything. Coach Bullard and I in the last segment will get more into that. And the family thing, that's how we come back from this thing. Next game, we are moving on. The next game. Did last night's JV game help that?
Absolutely, and I get excited about those JV games and seeing those guys. I talk about it every week we have one. The guys that put in the time and the effort in practice and get our varsity guys ready for games, and they get to go out there and have fun. And we saw a lot of great things, from quarterback play to running back play to some young defensive linemen getting after it to some young secondary guys. And it's always a good time to watch our JV guys compete and play football. And we were all excited about what we saw last night and about the future of Jackson Christian football.
And we did play winning football against a 5A public school. 5A, folks. Tell you what, we're at Hub City Deli, and the reason I'm looking away is I see my favorite words in the featured sandwich. The Piggy Sue is here. I'm taking one home with me tonight afterwards.
There you go.
Seabass and I will be here tomorrow for lunch. There may not be any Piggy Sues left unless you get out here and get you one of those. They are a great sandwich with 2 pork chops, the special sauce, onion, lettuce, tomato, and the bun, the brioche bun that it's on. It is. I'm sitting here tasting it right now.
You're going to have to go eat one now,
yeah,
Coach.
Well, they've got me one that's fixed, and they're saving it for
There
me.
you go.
Nobody can have that one.
That's right.
And not going to do like the Beckham. Another great sandwich here.
That's right.
Coach Beckham got them started with one that had brisket and pimento cheese. It's a great one. But we'll come back with more of the Jackson Christian Eagles show after this timeout from Hub City Deli.
Hub City Deli is honored to sponsor Jackson Christian Athletics. Gourmet chef Peter Thomas invites you in for a totally new experience in craft sandwiches, wraps, and salads. The homemade hoagies are baked fresh. A big favorite is Pete's brisket hoagie with brisket, smoked Texas style. The Hub City burger is a Jackson favorite. The salads are always fresh and unique. Hub City Deli is open for breakfast as well. Located on Pleasant Plains Extended, just down the road from Jackson Christian.
And we are back here at Hub City Deli with the Jackson Christian Eagle Show, and we've got a very special guest. I know him better, even though I saw him play football here, and Coach Bullard and I are going to split the introduction, but, of course, he prepped right here at Jackson Christian School and was a 3-time All-State selection for the Eagles. 2011 Perfect Game honorable mention all Southeast region, and Perfect Game is a group that rates baseball players and things like that. 4-time all-region, all-district selection, helped lead the Eagles to the 2008 state title, a trio of runner-ups, 4-year honor roll student, and that is very, very important. And, Coach, I'm going to let you take care of some outstanding football stats.
Yes, sir, and we're happy. I'm not happy. I'm thrilled to be sitting by Mr. Noah Chandler tonight, and he spoke to our student body yesterday in our chapel, in our first homecoming chapel, class of 2011. I'm just going to hit on his football as well. And these are prepared by Coach McLean now. So I know y'all have already been talking about it, trying to see what's going on with the records. But second in single game passing yards, 413 yards against Crockett County. Second single season touchdown passes with 24 in 2010. Single season leader in passing yards with 28. 34 there in 2010, and single season leader in total touchdowns with 38 in 2010. And I'm sure, Coach, the list goes on. And I am so honored to be sitting by this guy tonight. And Noah Chandler is going to be our alumni guest in our homecoming week, so it's pretty fitting.
And he played college baseball. I left that fact out. I believe at Lipscomb and at Harding.
Yes,
and
sir.
Did a great job of that. And, no, I'm going to start off. Normally I'd let Coach Bull do it, but you got a Christian education all the way.
Yes, sir.
The football, the baseball, again, coached by Christian coaches, and the emphasis on that. How important is that in your life?
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, the lessons that you learn in sports are the lessons you're going to learn in life. That's why football is such a good game for kids, for young men especially. I mean, shoot, the adversity you have to overcome, especially as bad as we were a couple of the years that I was there. I mean, just overcoming that. I mean, the story of us going into our senior year is crazy just because we had no starting quarterback. I had never played quarterback. We had a coaching change, and the papers, I still keep there was a snippet that the Jackson Sun did, and they said that it was pretty much about how bad we were going to be on offense and how bad I was going to be a quarterback. And so I keep it because those lessons teach you everything. And the only way that you can even be able to overcome adversity at that age is you got to have some special men leading you. And we did, Matt Underwood and Brian Stewart, Chuck Cooper. I mean, some really phenomenal men.
Some great guys. Coach?
So we had Blake on a couple weeks ago, and one thing that I like to talk about is the leadership that the guys that you played for. And your head football coach was Coach Underwood, is that right?
My senior year.
Okay, your senior year. So I love this question, and I like when people ask me this kind of stuff. What are some things, and you mentioned a rough couple seasons there. What are some things from Coach Underwood that you still remember, some lessons, maybe some things that advice or some pillars that he kind of had for y'all as a football program?
Oh, man. Coach Underwood, he kind of modeled his coaching. It was his first head coaching job, and he modeled himself kind of after Nick Saban. And that's the way that we did it. It was the choices and decisions we made had consequences, good or bad, and everything we did. I just remember, one thing that sticks out is we were good on offense that year when we were not supposed to be. And so there was a lot of once we figured out we were good. I think it was like the 5th game in. We were playing Tipton Rosemark. We were up like a lot to a little, and me and Dre Bowles and Jonathan Payne were, messing around on the sideline. I just remember him getting so upset because we weren't still invested in the game, and that kind of stuff. You don't think it matters when you're 17, and then you go and you play big time sports and you see how quickly that changes, And when you play in a state championship or something like that can make a difference in a game. And the attention to detail that he had, and to be able to develop guys. I mean, we only had one starter that had ever played offense, and that was Dre, and he was a sophomore the year before, and he wasn't the Dre Bowles at that point that the world knows now, right? He was a young kid and he was developing, and then we had a whole bunch of guys who had never played. Jonathan Payne, who had never done really anything on the offensive side of the ball. I had never done anything on the offensive side of the ball. So we kind of had a chip on our shoulder, and Coach Underwood kind of helped us through that, I think. I mean, he was such a good mentor for me. I still talk to him today just because he taught me so much about the game, but more about life in general.
So I graduated from Freed-Hardeman in 2010 and was fortunate to be able to work with Noah in Jackson Christian baseball for his senior year. And this guy, ultra competitor, loved watching him compete and go about his craft. Tell us about, we talked about Coach Underwood, and I know the head coach you played for and I coached under for 3 years. Tell us about the lessons also that you learned through baseball from Coach Cooper, because I know he was a mixture of football, baseball there for a little while. And what did he bring to the table that you took with you to Lipscomb and then to Harding?
Oh shoot, man, Coop. So me and Coop were together for a long time for baseball. So Coop came to JCS I think when I was in the 5th grade, and he was as competitive as a man as I'd met, and that was the first time I had seen somebody that I saw that I could relate to, I guess, in that regard. And so I took to him early. I mean, we started hitting together when I was in the 5th grade, and it continued on, throughout the whole time. So he was the assistant coach when I was in the 8th grade, and then my whole high school career. And JCS had never really done a ton in baseball, but over those years we were at least in the state championship run every year, and that's him. That's Chuck Cooper's doing, and I would say probably at JCS he's one of the most, if not the most, legendary coach to ever come through. And the reason for that is he got a bunch of guys who weren't very good to play together and to have the desire to win. And I would say for outside of baseball, Chuck just knew how to get kids to think the right way. And you know how hard that can be as a trying to get 17-year-old kids, 15-year-old kids to do the right thing every day. That's pretty tough. But Chuck to this day I probably owe more to probably than any coach I ever played for.
So it's homecoming week. You came back and got to see some little bit of updated facilities from when you were there. Looks a little different. Talk about you talked a little bit about this in chapel and talked about your legacy. And if you could talk to and this is a football show, so we'll go football route with it. You could talk to the JCS football team. What would you tell those guys? What would you say maybe about leaving a legacy or something that you really hold on to? And I know we've kind of touched on that a little bit. What if you could stand in front of them? What would you say to them?
Yeah, absolutely. For me, the only thing, and the guys that I played with, we wanted to win. That was the only thing we wanted to do. That it was not about the facilities, as cool as they are. Facilities don't win football games. Guys win football games. So, you can have the nicest facilities in the country and you can get beat, and you can have the worst facilities in the country and you can win. So I'd say the number one focus has to be how do we win football games and how do we do it together? Because you're not going to win it, especially at this level. You're not going to do it by yourself.
Yeah.
That was the only thing we wanted to do, and my senior year was a perfect example of that. A bunch of guys who hadn't done anything, and we figured out a way to win based off of not much athletic ability other than Dre Bowles and Jonathan Payne. Those two guys were extremely athletic, and then I just had to get them the ball.
Yeah.
And
Coach?
you did.
Yeah.
Coach, we're going to get you to come back because I know I'm serious. This young man, maybe we can get him on at halftime or pregame show one time at our great field. But it's your turn to say anything you want to, and this is a very inspirational man right here, and I guarantee he's shown you the light tonight. But it's your turn to say anything you want to not only Jackson Christian fans, but everybody that's listening.
Yeah, no, first off, I appreciate you guys having me on, but two, I just say that, anybody who's following JCS football, in order to create a culture that you want to be sustainable, it takes time, and you got to do the right things every day. And so that would be the focus I'd tell all the parents, the kids watching is whatever you do, the choices and decisions you make will create the outcome that you get. And so if you're not getting the outcome you want, you got to look at your choices and decisions, and it's got to be it's on us as a JCS football community, every single person, to make that happen. So that's what I would say.
Absolutely.
Very good. One of the special people in the record books, but more than that, a special human being, a great American and a very good Christian, Noah Chandler. We're here at Hub City Deli. They have breakfast Monday through Friday here. Don't forget about the Beckham. Don't forget about the Piggy Sue, the brisket, and there's a whole lot of other stuff, including desserts. We're going to take a time out on the Jackson Christian Eagles show.
Hub City Deli is honored to sponsor Jackson Christian Athletics. Gourmet chef Peter Thomas invites you in for a totally new experience in craft sandwiches, wraps, and salads. The homemade hoagies are baked fresh. A big favorite is Pete's brisket hoagie with brisket, smoked Texas style. The Hub City burger is a Jackson favorite. The salads are always fresh and unique. Hub City Deli is open for breakfast as well. Located on Pleasant Plains Extended, just down the road from Jackson Christian.
Back at Hub City Deli with the Jackson Christian Eagles show. Coach Brian Bullard, Coach Joe Holloway. We've got a very special guest that has just stepped in, and I believe he is a junior this year, second year as a starter, team captain, all-region honorable mention last year as an offensive lineman, but all-around good guy too, and pretty fair student. Coach, I'm going to let you finish introducing our guest, and then I'll give you the first question.
Coach, senior Dalton DeLoach with us here tonight, and we wanted to we do a thing, Coach McLean does a thing on Twitter called Lineman Love when we go over 100 yards. And so we got three of our linemen here tonight. Just a little bit about the guys they're blocking for, and we can go ahead and hit on this because it goes together. But Cam's 133 yards versus USJ moved him into third all-time in career rushing. And our offense is averaging 239 yards a game on the ground. And rushed for 200-plus in 12 of the last 16, dating back to 2001. And these guys are a huge part of that. And we wanted to recognize them because sometimes, that position is kind of it's huge. It's where the game can be won or lost, but it's not as much in the limelight. But Dalton DeLoach, our first guest tonight. And Dalton, I'm going to start like this. What is your favorite thing about playing offensive line?
Probably the family, if I had to guess, because all of us, we just joke around, like to have fun. And that's basically what brings the joy to it for me, is just being able to have those friends.
And Dalton, I'm going to make a correction on there. Bend it right up close to you.
Okay.
Because these are not omnidirectional. That's so
okay.
that we kind of filter things out. I got to piggyback on what you said. What block do you like to make the best? Is it the double team or just pancaking somebody by yourself?
A nice double team. Ooh, that's always fun with Eli.
And the offensive line, it's not as easy as it looks. And everybody thinks that in the old days, in the 60s, they thought it was guys that couldn't think. You got to be smart. First of all, calls change. You have to read and see the thing, and there are line calls to be made, which gap. And a guy may line up in a gap. It's not like how you draw the little playbook up, or they don't always. Sometimes they get outside eye, inside eye. Yeah. Tell us about playing offense and attacking those different situations.
In practice, we work a lot about that stuff, different lineups, so we have an idea of what to expect and what to do in that case. And Coach Reichert hits awesome on that. And overall, I think we're pretty decent at that. And we can always watch film. We always study our who we're going to play that week. And just I think we're always pretty prepared for what's going to come forward towards us.
So, Dalton, watching you play, and folks watching probably can pick this up. When you pull and kick and down block and all those things, you do it with an intensity. And where does that drive, that motivation, that intensity come from for you as an offensive lineman?
I like making Cam in the spotlight. It's always fun having a running back like Cam, because all you got to do, you hit somebody as hard as you can and give him a gap, and he's gone. It's always so fun just to see him go score whenever we do one of those Ziggies or any of those pool plays.
And I love, it gives me chills to hear you talk about somebody else's success. And as an offensive lineman, you have to buy into that. You aren't always going to be in the paper, but I think we do. Coach McLean does a really good job of recognizing you guys and giving you the love that you all deserve. And you've battled some injuries. You battled a shoulder. So how have you been able to continue to be aggressive and to be intense and to do your job while battling that shoulder injury? What do you credit that to?
I don't want to disappoint anybody, really. I want to be there for everybody, and I want to do the best I can for the team, because I know if I quit or was hurt and I just gave up, that would look bad. And I like the game, and I don't really quit. So I always just want to push myself to just keep going and going and going no matter what.
Absolutely. Talk about some guys when you were a freshman or sophomore. Talk about some guys that you looked up to on the offensive line, and maybe some guys that kind of led you to you being a senior and you being the leader of the offensive line.
So I remember Stanfield a lot, Will Stanfield. I really looked up to him because I remember getting on scout team lining up against him and Charles, and just how fun they made it.
Yeah.
And just the work ethic they had and just how hard they tried really made me want to be like them, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. So you mentioned scout team, and usually that's a younger guy putting in his dues, and how talk about that a little bit. And you said that they made it fun, because those practices can get long, those 2.5 hour, 3 hour practices. So maybe mention a couple guys that you go against right now that are putting in work, that are making you better for Friday nights.
Hunter, he's definitely one of them. He's just gotten so much better, I can already tell, and he's going to be insane whenever he gets by next year and whenever he gets even as senior. And just being able to see all these people like Chandler and not Campbell, Everett.
Yeah.
Being able to see them all get on scout team and get reps and more help us prepare more for the Fridays, I think that's awesome, and it gets them used to how we work and just how we practice.
Yeah. Coach?
A couple of quick things. Favorite class at school?
Ooh. So probably math or speech class right now.
And favorite teacher? And it could change from year to year.
I like Miss Baker.
You know, Miss Baker. We get Miss Baker mentioned a whole lot in this thing like this. You play any other sports at Jackson Christian?
No, sir.
Don't even throw the shot. I would have thought you might be a shot thrower or something like that.
Well, with that shoulder, it's kind of hard.
Oh, that's right. I forget about the shoulder.
He had to spend off season making sure he was going to be able to play. So,
what about favorite activities at school?
Ooh, I like football, obviously. Then just being able to hang out and just with friends from school. That's awesome. I love doing all that stuff.
Now, we're speaking with Dalton DeLoach. He's number 72. He's a senior, not a junior, as I said earlier. I was trying to
didn't even catch you on that.
Well, I caught myself on after I was looking at my little chart you can see down there, and I thank the people that make these for me. They do a great job. It's your turn to say anything, not only to your football players, to the Jackson Christian student body, but we got fans that don't even go to school or never had anybody that's listening to you right now. What do you want to say to them?
Thank y'all for all the support, and please come every Friday. We love it when everybody shows up. It brings so much energy to the team and all that.
And I bet you can say "Go Eagles" better than I can.
Go Eagles!
Absolutely. There he is, Dalton Smith.
DeLoach.
Yeah, Dalton DeLoach. You caught that one.
Yeah.
And this runs into sometimes when I coach players. And Dalton, I got to staring at him because he looks like one of my former students.
Yeah.
I didn't teach you an economics class a long time ago. But anyway, so. Dalton DeLoach does a great job. Watch for number 72. He can pull, too. We didn't talk about that. Next time we talk to Dalton, we'll talk about being a pulling guard also. There's more to guard play than just blocking straight ahead. Trap blocking's fun, too, isn't it, Dalton?
Yeah.
We're going to take a timeout. We are here at Hub City Deli. When we come back, we have another special guest. We'll be back after this.
Hub City Deli is honored to sponsor Jackson Christian Athletics. Gourmet chef Peter Thomas invites you in for a totally new experience in craft sandwiches, wraps, and salads. The homemade hoagies are baked fresh. A big favorite is Pete's brisket hoagie with brisket, smoked Texas style. The Hub City burger is a Jackson favorite. The salads are always fresh and unique. Hub City Deli is open for breakfast as well. Located on Pleasant Plains Extended, just down the road from Jackson Christian.
And we are back at Hub City Deli with the Jackson Christian Eagle Show. I've got an eye appointment scheduled. I can't even read my own notes that I wrote. I better stick with Chase. And Coach Chase does a great job of making – this is a neat little chart he's got for me over here with all kinds of good information. I think his class does that.
There's a couple football guys in there along with just some of our students that have started making that sheet, and they've kind of taken responsibility for it, and it's a good resource, and we're happy to have those guys helping us out.
And, Coach, we've got another one of our outstanding linemen. I'm going to let you lead off again and take it away.
Yes, sir. So we're going to go with our other guard. Mr. Ty Smith is here with us tonight. And Ty, you couldn't hear us kind of intro Dalton, but I want to read these stats again with you sitting here. He's a guard for an offense that's averaging almost 240 rushing yards a game, and 200 plus in 12 of the last 16, and that's just a tremendous testament to our linemen, but our running backs and everybody involved in that. And it takes a group effort, Ty, and we're grateful you're with us here tonight at Hub City.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Ty, we'll start out like I asked Dalton. What is your? It's not a glorious position, but what is your favorite thing about being an offensive lineman?
I love the culture of the offensive lineman. I mean, we all get out there. We'll do our pass sets out there on indies, and it's just an amazing time. We're all focused. We're all locked. And then we get out there and do team and inside run, and we're all there. We're on the same track, and we're all there going for that one goal. We're all there on the same track.
So tell us, Thursday was rough. Thursday was rough, and we don't run from it. We don't hide from it. We talk about it. And when things kind of go awry a little bit as you're playing against a good defensive line, good athletes, strong guys, whatever that looks like. How do you, and along with Dalton and Eli, we'll talk to him in a minute, Joey, Kyle, whoever, we rotate a couple guys in there. How do y'all kind of talk on the field, and what kind of things do you say to each other to keep you tight and not kind of pull apart from each other?
We get out there, and if someone has a bust, we're like, hey, next play mentality. It's okay. We all make mistakes, and we'll get out there, and most of the time it corrects it. Most of the time we get out there, we're like, okay. We know, like when for example, like I'll pull and I'll miss that end. Like, okay, next play mentality. We'll get out there, and now I know what to do, so I'll adjust, and I'll be able to kick that in.
That's right. And that comes from a lot, and Dalton hit on this, a lot of practice. And you got a good guy leading your group, and I'll let Coach ask a couple questions about he hit Dalton with some really good adjustments. But I love that you keep using the phrase next play mentality, because if you don't, it'll linger. And you got to move on to the next one, because that defense is coming no matter what happened on the play before. So, Coach, what do you have for Ty?
Well, Ty got several things. One, Ty is very good at pulling. I have noticed that. You enjoy kicking the defensive end to kingdom come, don't you?
I do enjoy kicking
you
them.
Just seem light up like a Christmas tree over here. This is a crazy question to ask you, but people don't understand the footwork. It's not just hitting with the shoulder pads and not holding. Tell them about how you pull, drop step, pivot step, however you want to call it. Tell them about how to pull, kick a defensive end.
Yes, sir. So if we kick, we're opening up and we're going flat down the line, and we have a saying called pull left, pull right, hit right, where we'll pull left, we'll use our shoulder and hit left. If we pull right, the kick, we'll kick with our right shoulder. And when we have a wrap, which is when we go around the tackle and the tight end, we'll have this thing where we step with our foot behind, and the foot will follow through, and you just argue right there in your gap, and you just run up and hit the linebacker.
Sounds good. Got to get you to ask about this, too. You done got me excited. How's it feel to double down on a nose man?
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, Eli's pretty good to double people with, isn't he?
Me and Eli, it's been awesome. With the Deloach, too. I mean, we've had a few pancakes this season, and a lot of them been just us just working as a team, and we'll get the job done.
Which one's easier, pass blocking or run blocking?
I like run blocking, just a little bit, just a tad bit more. Just gotta get to hit somebody.
It's an aggressive behavior, and you get. I've talked to very few linemen. They'll do the pass blocking, and they like it, but they don't love it. It's nothing like firing out and getting that guy. The snap count, and you're ready to fire off and take him all the way. I'm going to ask a couple of questions and throw it back, Coach. What other sports do you play?
I don't really play any other sports. Football has just kind of been my main focus because I have tried like baseball before. Baseball just wasn't for me. And then when I tried football, I was like, hey, I like this. It's the one sport I can go out there. I'm not nervous. I don't have to worry about what I do. I don't have to worry about what other people look at me and see that, hey, he sucks. He's not getting it. So then, and now I do theater, though.
That is great. No, what plays have you acted in?
I did the one last year. I tried it out. It was Freaky Friday. And then this year we're doing The Sound of Music, so I am doing The Sound of Music this year.
Oh, that is great. I love that. Believe it or not, a couple of old plays that I acted in, not necessarily in high school, but this was in college, and then I played the horse, which is actually the narrator in a couple of Greek. We had some Greek tragedies we did. Got to play a guy that was supposed to be like Kojak in a play called Ladies' Night in a Turkish Bath. It's actually about a guy that committed a crime and all that stuff, but it's crazy. That is great. Now, I love the shirt he's got on. He's got a shirt with it says Eagles 1,000-Pound Club. Tell folks how you earn that.
So in the spring, we will have our maxes, and we will build off that and see if we've gotten stronger. And so if you have all your maxes combined over 1,000 pounds, you get in the 1,000-pound club. It's a grind though. Like it took me at least a year to finally get it.
Absolute, Coach.
So, Ty, you played for us and moved in this year to a full-time role as an offensive lineman. And I asked Dalton this question: who are some guys? Maybe this is your third year or second year?
Second year.
Second year. Your second year with us, and who are some guys that you look towards and kind of helped you along the way as an offensive lineman?
When I first got here, Presley did. He really took me under his wing. He was like, "Hey, you work on your steps." Because that was all new to me. Mm-hmm. I came from a program that didn't really focus on that stuff. It was just put your pads on and go. Mm-hmm. And so when I came here, Presley was there, and really just the whole O-line. They took me under their wing. I wasn't really nervous. I wasn't really scared. After the first week, I was like, okay, hey, these guys, I can trust these guys. They got my back, and I got theirs.
Awesome. And I'll let Coach Joe take you through the final question. But this is a guy that came to us from Middleton, and his mom teaching down again in the elementary, doing music down there, and sisters there, and the younger sister.
Yes, sir.
Younger sister as well, and we're excited to have the Smith family back at JCS. And Coach, I'll let you finish up with them.
Absolutely. Well, Ty, we always give everybody a chance to say anything they want to the Jackson Christian fans, the student body, their fellow football players, and we got a lot of listeners that don't even have any association other than they like Jackson Christian football. And I'm going to give you a little hint. I'd also say hey to Mom also on the air too, but it's your turn to say anything you want to.
Hey, Mama. Hey, Papa. I really do like our fans. I love the players. I love the whole Jackson Christian community. I love going out on Friday night. The stands are filled. The grill's fired up. People are like lined with their lawn chairs all the way around the field. It's incredible. It's a feeling like you just can't forget. I mean, it's awesome. Busting through that paper, running out with all the team people cheering. It's incredible. I love the atmosphere we have here at Jackson Christian.
Absolutely, and a great job by you. Keep pulling up. Let's keep knocking defensive ends to kingdom come, and doing a great job. A great student here. We're going to take one more time out. Now, we've actually got two left in the show, but in a minute, the third member of our offensive line, the man that's in the middle, and I like saying it sounds like the Chicago Bulls introduction. The man in the middle will be with us in just a minute. We're going to take a timeout from Hub City Deli, and I'm going to get my Piggy Sue before it's over with here. We'll be back after this timeout.
Hub City Deli is honored to sponsor Jackson Christian Athletics. Gourmet chef Peter Thomas invites you in for a totally new experience in craft sandwiches, wraps, and salads. The homemade hoagies are baked fresh. A big favorite is Pete's brisket hoagie with brisket, smoked Texas style. The Hub City burger is a Jackson favorite. The salads are always fresh and unique. Hub City Deli is open for breakfast as well. Located on Pleasant Plains Extended, just down the road from Jackson Christian.
Back for the last player segment, and I hope I don't mess this up, and apologies to the Chicago Bulls announcer. And now, the starting center for the Jackson Christian School Eagles, the man in the middle, Eli Gay. Coach, I'll give it to you because my voice is raspy.
I don't know if I can go after that now. Coach, I appreciate it. We got we had our two guards start us out, and the guy that does play in between those guys, Eli Gay, with us here tonight, our center. And it's only fair that I give him the same recognition and talk about those stats. And our offense, again, averaging 240 rushing yards a game and rushed for 200-plus in 12 of the last 16, dating back to 2021 season opener. And Eli is a guy that stepped in last year, and I think his first two games were ECS and USJ, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir.
Some really good defensive linemen that he's gone against. And the one thing that we talk about when we watch film after games and we watch, we correct this, correct that, that's positive. This is, he's steady. And you don't, unless you're watching him, you're not going to see a whole lot of mistakes. You're going to see a guy that is anchoring our middle right now. And doing a really good job. Snapping the football is not easy, but then you have to snap it and step and do all the things. Maybe he's got and I won't take all his glory from him. I'll ask him a little bit about that. But, Eli, thank you so much for being here tonight with us and part of a really good offensive line. And I know we have some good backs behind y'all, and that always helps. And we'll start out the same way. What is your favorite thing about playing offensive line?
I would say getting a double team with both Ty and Deloach is probably my favorite.
Those double team blocks are fun, aren't they?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. And we play against some really good defensive linemen, some really good nose guards, and sometimes you might be singled up. Sometimes, like Thursday, had a four-man front. So what are some, as a center, what are some challenges that you face every time you put your hand on that ball?
I would say being undersized, most dudes are bigger or most likely going to be stronger than me. So, like Coach Reichard told me, I have to use my speed to an advantage and beat them to the angle and get in front of them.
So, you talk about angles, and does that come from working out in practice? Does that come from film? When you're preparing for do you watch the guy that's across from you? And what is your kind of process getting ready going into a game on a Friday night?
So it starts Monday usually, or maybe even on the weekend, watching film, seeing if they have any moves they like to make, trying to rip off, trying to sling somebody, and seeing if they have certain type of if they lean one side or another, and just getting their kinks and seeing if they have anything that'll show.
And that's something that I'm glad you're hitting on that. That's something that is, if you're just watching the game of football, you may not pick up. But as we've talked about, you don't have to snap it, but then you have to do something when you snap it. And Coach, I'll throw it to you, but Eli does a tremendous job in the middle there of our offense.
Well, let's go back to something y'all already talked about a little bit. Which one is easier to block? And I know none of them are easy because, first of all, your head's down. You've got to make an accurate snap, which he's done such a good job of. Is the slinger or the guy that bench presses you the harder to block?
I would say the slinging, just trying to keep your balance.
Because you can sometimes, if the guy's not really strong, didn't get on Coach Irvin's weightlifting program, he can't bench press you, can he? And that's what the technique. It's got another name, but that's what we've always called it. You can get under those guys' pads, can't you?
Yes,
and that's legalized holding now, folks.
Yeah.
Before we go, and this young man does a great job of keeping people. He keeps his arms in. Have you ever been called for holding? I know that's a weird question.
Not to my knowledge.
I can't remember one, and I've done y'all's games for years. This guy does it right. If you want to see technique, freeze the film when you go back, it's archived on YouTube. Freeze the film and watch his technique, and it is all about speed. And the snaps, now, correct me if I'm wrong, you actually started out last year as a guard and then Presley got hurt, right?
No, sir. I
Okay.
have been snapping since third grade.
Oh, you've been snapping. Well, I thought you could play a little guard too, though.
I'm sure I can.
You
if
probably
needed.
could.
Okay. Now, somebody told me that you could play guard if you had to. And that was a tough way. You had to come in cold in that game
Yes,
when he
sir.
got hurt. And he's done a great job since then. And he's got Presley's support because Presley's out for the year. Now let's talk about school for a minute, though. The school, besides football, what's your favorite thing at school or favorite class, either one?
I would say getting an hour and a half with Miss Baker every day, back-to-back classes.
Back-to-back classes. Favorite football memory at Jackson Christian?
In the games, I would say probably beating USJ my freshman year, and then just being able to be out there with my friends at practice and get to goof around.
Okay, at practice, what kind of thing? We know you block, but what drills or things? What's some of the favorite things you like to do? And being a center, you have to be very versatile.
Yes, sir. We do a lot of inside run, kind of getting a feel for what they might do in a game. We do footwork techniques with Coach Reichard and going over that kind of stuff, and then kind of getting to go with Gage and Cam and getting practice snaps and them going through their reads and me getting to be able to get used to snapping and reaching or stepping down, those kinds of things.
Actually, getting help out of Coach Darby, got to ask him that. I know he was a long snapper and stuff in college, but he's got to have some affinity and love for the center position.
Absolutely. Eli, we took one on the chin Thursday, and you don't have a ton of time to sit around and think about it. We got a Tipton team coming in, dangerous team, can throw the ball around. We've watched film. What are some things that you're doing, maybe individually or maybe as a teammate to kind of get the focus back and where it needs to be?
Kind of just saying, like, the past is the past. We can't control what's in the past, so we might as well work and try to get towards the future. Watching film, seeing what we did wrong, and then going into practice and trying to fix that.
That's right, and that's a great mindset, and one we're all trying to preach together. And what do you see out of our guys? Do you see a team that's bouncing back? Do you see a team that's ready to go out and compete Friday night?
Yes, sir. I think so, especially after today.
Absolutely. We had really good practice today, a lot of energy. So homecoming week, and I'll steal this one before we wrap it up. Homecoming week, we always talk about the most important thing is the game on Friday, but there's a lot of good stuff that happens to get there. Talk about some homecoming and then finish up with whatever you would like to say to the Jackson Christian community and finish this interview.
Yes, sir. I think homecoming is just a fun week in general. You get to dress up, play games during chapel or after chapel. You got the parade and getting to meet people you've never met, like Mr. Noah. Never met him before, but he's a really cool dude. You got to talk to him. But I think it's just really good for our school's culture and building on the family aspect of our school.
Absolutely. Coach?
It's a great thing. Anything you want to say to the fans before you go, though?
I just want to thank y'all for coming out and supporting us every week and just keep showing up.
Absolutely. Freeze the frame. Watch this young man sometime. Technique, he is undersized, but he's in Coach Irv's weightlifting program, and you're going to be bigger next year, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
He is. We love him to death. All three of these fine young men, Coach Bullard. We're going to take our last time out. Don't touch the dial. Call some more people and tell them we got homecoming coming up. We got Tipton Rosemar. We got all kinds of things. And back to winning football at Jackson Christian School. We'll take this time out.
Hub City Deli is honored to sponsor Jackson Christian Athletics. Gourmet chef Peter Thomas invites you in for a totally new experience in craft sandwiches, wraps, and salads. The homemade hoagies are baked fresh. A big favorite is Pete's brisket hoagie with brisket, smoked Texas style. The Hub City Burger is a Jackson favorite. The salads are always fresh and unique. Hub City Deli is open for breakfast as well. Located on Pleasant Plains Extended, just down the road from Jackson Christian.
The Piggy Sue is back here at Hub City Deli where the Jackson Christian Eagles show is. Big week. JV played and did well last night, and they won, folks. We didn't announce that, but we won. We not only won, we scored a ton of points, played some defense last night. The elementary school is playing as coach, and I speak coach any word on it.
It was 6-0 last update I had.
That one's going to be a tough one right there.
Yeah,
that's a tough
two
game.
really good teams.
You are the man with the plan about homecoming, and Tipton Rosemark's the opponent. They have a good squad. They play a 3-3-5. They run the spread. They throw it all. Their offensive coordinator is their head coach, William Dean. But we have won the last two against them, lost. And I remember that 34-31 game. I have opinions that will not be expressed on this show about the 34-31 game. We should have had it in some unusual circumstances. Here's Coach Bullard.
Yeah, and when you go to Tipton, some crazy things seem to happen over there. But they're always good people and good folks over that way, and had success against them the last 2 years. But you and I both know that doesn't matter. We got to strap it up every Friday night, and it is homecoming. There are, and I'm messing with my phone because I'm going to read some stuff that's going to be happening on Friday, but there are challenges that you face as a coach. You worry about all the activities going on, making sure your guys get in bed and get some rest, and because at the end of the day, that game is super important on Friday, and it's our homecoming game, but it's a region game. And these last 4 games that we're facing set us up for the playoffs, and you want to be in the best position you can be in come that last game. And so we're excited. The day will start with a parade, and that'll be around campus, and parents can come and set up and watch that. We'll have another chapel speaker. And we're 2 for 2 with really good homecoming chapel speakers this week. Noah being one of them on Monday, our guest tonight, and Blake Taylor was our guest about 3 weeks ago, I think it was. We had him on, so those guys have done a great job. And 2 o'clock, we'll have the pep rally, and then once that's over with, once that pep rally's over with, that's when you want your guys to start really getting locked in to their job, and their job is the game. That we'll have some escorts and some things like that they'll be a part of for homecoming. 6:30 is when we'll do the coordination, and so we will have the homecoming will be announced, and so we'll have all that going on at 6:30, and then after that we'll play. We'll have an alumni tailgate. I've got some notes here. Starting at 5:30, so there'll be food and set everything set up for our alumni to come back, and we hope to have tons of alumni come and enjoy each other's company. And man, it was so awesome to see Noah tonight, and I know Noah's a great guy, but to watch him sit with our guys and talk to them, and he doesn't know them, and he took his time to sit with them and get to know them. And you heard Eli mention his name on the show when he was talking, and those are the kind of things these guys don't forget. And
you cherish those.
You cherish those memories. And Noah's a guy that I'll never forget being just a part of his senior year there for baseball. But this all goes to show the community and the family that we have at Jackson Christian. And once again, we want to surround Coach Palmer and his family and keep praying for them, and we're excited to get him back the next couple of days. And another opportunity to play as a team and move on from last week, and we're excited, and we're not taking this opportunity for granted or any of these moments for granted this week.
And we work on the things that went wrong. We also the things that went right. And Coach, I know y'all did a lot of film breakdown, et cetera, like that.
Yes, sir.
But we have to move forward, and we improve each week, and that's our goal anyway.
Yeah.
I remember something Coach Palmer said, I believe it was last week, that it's a work in progress, but we want to be better at the end of the season. And, folks, and Coach can address this any way he wants to. We're going to be there at the playoffs unless something would take some miracle. And I got a feeling the two teams are going to meet again. And even if they don't, we're going to progress no matter what.
Yeah, and that's what we're trying to do is just get better every week. And you want to be playing your best when November rolls around. And when you get in the playoffs in a one-game win or go home scenario. Anything can happen, and we're not gonna look ahead to that, because if we do, you can slip up, and put yourself in a position where maybe you're traveling, or maybe you're getting somebody a round or two earlier than you normally would, or something like that. But our job is to beat Tipton Rosemart and to play the best that we can play, and do our jobs, and we're excited about that. And of course, you do think about down the road. I mean, it's human nature. We try to focus on the present as much as possible, but I can't wait. Lost some sleep over the weekend and some frustration, but getting to be with our guys today, and just see the excitement of them, and beautiful weather, as Coach Phillips mentioned, and I love that. I'm ready for it to cool off, and I think that puts everybody in a better mood. But these guys are a fun group, and we wouldn't want to go to battle with anybody else.
And Coach, jumping back to homecoming, got to ask you a personal question.
Yes,
What's
sir.
your favorite part of homecoming besides the football game?
My favorite part, I love the parade. Our guys get to walk around, and since I've got 2 young kids, they'll be out with their classes, and just watching them, and it makes me a little emotional to talk about it, but watching them, seeing how they look up to our guys is awesome. And all it is just us in our jerseys, and our guys in their jerseys walking around the school.
But they're heroes to those
they
young
are.
people.
They are, and that's what they've got to know and understand. And one day you'll get it. And I didn't understand it in the moment when I was their age, but now that I have a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old, and my 7-year-old talks about all these guys and goes and throws football with them, and he's in the locker room with them, and they look at baseball cards together, and just those are the things that we do this for. Do we want to win? Absolutely, we want to win. Do we want to make guys better? Yes, but at the end of the day, I love to get calls and texts and things from guys that have moved on from our program, graduated, and they're doing well, and they're married, or they've got a good job. And Clayton Phillips was on our sideline Friday night, and he's a guy that graduated a few years ago and been in the military, and he's out now and about to start a job. And seeing those guys come back is what it's all about. And so my favorite part is getting to see the joy of the kids in the parade, but also I've really enjoyed the chapel speakers, and especially when it's guys I'm connected to, and seeing their impact and getting to talk to them. And I actually got to introduce Blake this morning to our student body, and that was a big moment for me.
Absolutely. 6:30 is the game time on the Jackson Christian Facebook. 7 o'clock kickoff. Now, it's a pregame show, and it's the Great American Sports pregame show. And, of course, the color and pageantry will have all of that. But we want you to watch those broadcasts. And if you've missed them, and I guarantee you we will not have any problems because Jackson Christian's internet will be good. The program will be live on their Facebook page. And, Coach, I guess we've got to thank Gary for his great job in Hub City Deli.
Always.
You and Coach Phillips and our 3 young men and Noah Chandler, you were great. But it's time to say any rebroadcast, retransmission, or further use of this without the express written consent of Worthy Road Studios is prohibited. And for Coach Brian Bullard, for Coach Rob Phillips, and the rest of the gang, thanks for your time this time. Till next time. Good night, all.